Okay, all right. Why don't we start by me telling you what I feel about etudes? As you see, when I was young, I truly despised them. I remember waiting for a lesson at the Blair School of Music in Nashville, Tennessee. I guess I must have been around 14 years old. While I was waiting outside my teacher's studio, sitting on a bench, I suddenly decided to look through my music that I was about to have for my lesson, as I had about 30 minutes to wait before going in. While I was looking through my music, I suddenly realized that I'd forgotten to work on my etude that my teacher had given me to learn for the week. A panic set in as my teacher was very Germanic, and I absolutely could not tell him, I could not say that I forgot to do my etude. Couldn't do it. So in my panic mode, I looked at the etude and tried to figure out what I could do. Because, see, in the hallway, there were other teacher studios, so I couldn't play. So I got my pencil, looked through the etude, and said, this I can do, this, that caused me a problem. What's the problem? Well, the problem is whatever the problem was. And I would circle it, and I would put a little funny face to remind me about what I had discovered while looking through the etude. And so with that, I walked into my lesson. He looked at me and asked me for my scale. And I played my scale. And then the moment of truth came as he asked me to play the etude that he had assigned to me. I took a deep breath, looked at the areas that I had encircled, and started playing the etude for the first time. Well, when I finished, I knew it was all over. I knew I was going to get, yelled at. Well, my teacher, with his stern face, looked at me and said, "William, that was the best etude that you've ever played for me. I don't know what you did, but keep doing it." Well, I took to heart what he said, and fact is that that's what I did for the rest of my life with etudes, as I always searched in a new etude for those areas that caused me problems. Well, as I am now in a more respectable age, I understand etudes maybe a lot better, as I see them as small pieces, musical vignettes that are centered around one technical aspect, just like I learned at that very young age when I forgot to do my etude. So I think that the first thing we need to understand is exactly how many etudes are there. Perhaps even before that, to discover what I believe to be the order of those etudes by difficulty. So let's see. For me, etudes start with the German violinist Heinrich Ernst Kaiser and his 36 etudes. And then we go to the Austrian violinist Jacob Don't with his 24 preparatory etudes or caprices. Those are the Opus 37 etudes. These are followed by the French violinist Rudolf Kreuzer's 42 etudes or capriccios, and these are followed by the 24 caprices written by the French violinist Pierre Rode. Oh yes, I was given the 42 Kreutzer etudes with the second violin part. Duets with Kreutzer etudes. And I play them with my students, as it serves to wonderfully illustrate the musical values found in etudes. So Up until now, we have 126 etudes in total from Kaiser to Rode. Now we have the German violinist Federico Fiorio, who wrote 36 etudes, which are followed by Jacob Dont, yet again, who wrote 24 more advanced studies of caprices in his Opus 35 edition. We end with Pierre Gaviniès, who is French and wrote 24 etudes. There are as well the Wieniawski etudes, or caprices, Opus 18, but I rarely use them with my younger students, so I will not include them on my list. So counting from Kaiser to Gaviniès, there are 210 etudes. I remember once considering that if it took 2 weeks, for example, to complete an etude, then it would take 420 weeks to complete them all, or over 8 years. Well, I once asked a colleague who performed all 24 Paganini caprices at the age of 18 if he could tell me how he learned them. I mean, how long, when did he start? How did he learn them? Well, what he said was that he learned 12 of them before he was 16 and then had to learn the other 12 in the 2 years that followed his 16th birthday. So I considered what he said and tried to map it back. Let's see, the first 2 caprices surely took him, 3-4 months to do. Let's round it off. Let's just say it took a year. After that, the remaining 10 must have taken him, if he did 3 a year, 4 a year. So why don't we say that would be, 2 to 3 years? So we've got 3 or 4 years to have completed the first 12 caprices. He told me that he had done this, remember, before the age of 16. So let's just stretch it. Let's say 4 years, okay? So that would mean that he had to have started doing the caprices when he was 12. And so if he would have done all 210 etudes, say one every 2 weeks, this would take approximately 8 years. He would have had to have started Kaiser at the age of 4, maybe even 3. I sort of doubt that this occurred, even though he was quite prolific. So with this in mind, I've organized etudes by skills. This means that I teach by skill and not in a numerical order. For example, starting with the first Kreutzer etude and going all the way through them, all the way through all 42 of them. Now, do understand that I'm not the first teacher to do this. My teachers, such as Stephen Clapp and Dorothy DeLay, always encouraged me to take material and organize it in a way that both reflected my teaching goals and helped me navigate students through the myriad of information. So I do encourage you to take this idea, manipulate this idea in a way that helps you understand the benefits of an etude study in this way. So in my vision of etude study, my main categories are intonation, vibrato or trills, shifting, arpeggios, octaves, sixths, rapid left-hand passages, sautier, martelet, thirds, string crossings, mixed intervals, colle, up-bow staccatos, 3-note chords, ricochet bowings, tenths, and finally, mixed media, etudes with mixed points of view. As you can see, these categories are as well divided into subcategories. For example, arpeggios, which I divide into détaché, slurred, and mixed bowings. Or in octaves, which are divided into détaché, slurred, and fingered. octaves. Dividing them into more specific areas is obviously helpful to respond in a more clear fashion to the student's needs. Now, I'm sure that you've noticed that I did not use all the etudes. Well, the criteria that I used to decide which etudes I would use was based entirely on my musical taste, which may or may not coincide with yours. This to me isn't the important point. What is important is ordering the etudes to fit your specific needs, your particular curses. So that's it for this video on etude organization. My name is William Fitzpatrick, and I am the Timianka Professor of Violin at the Hall Musco Conservatory of Music, which is located on the campus of Chapman University in Orange, California. I am as well the Artistic Director of the MusiShare Young Artist Program, which is located in Costa Mesa, California.